Yahoo Sports reports that Alabama offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb is being targeted by the Seahawks to be their next offensive coordinator. Now, at the time of us recording this is purely just a report that he's being targeted. From people that I talk to close to Alabama, he has been working for Alabama all week. So take that as you will. Again, just us speaking into what we know right now, time of us recording this, being targeted. But what I think would be healthy for us to do right now is to kind of unpack this and what it could mean for the future if Ryan Grubb were to leave and kind of play that out. And more importantly, what does it mean for us at the college football level? What would it mean for Alabama? Talk about it right now. But first things first, Alabama fans, make sure you're locked in right here to the On3 YouTube channel. We talk college football every single day. If Ryan Grubb does leave, we'll talk about it, have an instant reaction for you. If Ryan Grubb leaves, we will have a conversation around who could be the next coordinator. So all that's to say, make sure you're dialed in here. College football all year round, every single day right here on this show, The Hard Count, on this platform, the On3 YouTube channel. So thank you in advance for locking in with us. So if he were to leave for the Seahawks, let's call a spade a spade. There's some things that would make sense about it. From a personal level, he is, in a lot of ways, has a life in Seattle with his family, and he was at Washington last year, and so you'd be able to have some continuity there. Also, from a professional level, talk to people in the college football landscape. The college football world and the way it's evolving is starting to trend away towards why a lot of these guys signed up to coach football. Now, I'm not saying that's how Ryan Grubb feels, but when you talk about the just practicality of it, college football currently has a lot of extra things that you have to do as a coach that have nothing to do with coaching ball. You have to worry about NIL. You have to worry about your players being poached. You have to worry about recruiting the transfer portal. Like, there's so many things here that go outside of just coaching ball that are required at the collegiate ranks that aren't required at the NFL level. So at the NFL level, you have more than likely a better quality of life because you don't have to recruit all of the time, and you also just get to worry about coaching football. So that part of it has to be appealing. Again, not saying that's how Ryan Grubb feels, but from people that we speak to in the college football world, that is a growing sentiment that people want NFL jobs. Not everyone's leaving college football, but there's a lot of people that are lining up to get an NFL job. And Ryan Grubb, being one of the best offensive coordinators in the country, it would make sense for him to be qualified for an NFL job. So for Alabama now, this is what I would say. I think this loss would be brutal. Be absolutely brutal, but at the same time, I don't think it'd be fatal. So the brutal side of things is obvious. Kalen DeBoer's go-to guy in Ryan Grubb would be gone. Like, the calling card for Kalen DeBoer was his offense at Washington the last couple of seasons. Scored over 40 points a game. Michael Penix Jr. led the country in passing 2 seasons in a row. Like, Washington was an offensive football team, and Ryan Grubb, being the offensive coordinator, played a very large part in their success. That's the obvious part. Losing him, you lose a key ingredient to what worked well for your formula a season ago. The last 2 seasons, really. The reason why I don't think it's fatal is as much pressure as would be on Kalen DeBoer to make a good next hire for the offensive coordinator vacancy if Ryan Grubb leaves. I would also say, like, you have a fair amount of steady hands on that offense for whoever ends up being the next OC. And what I mean by that is, like, Kalen DeBoer, he has an offensive background himself. He's worked with quarterbacks. He's been an offensive coordinator before in his career. Like, you're not just a defensive coach that has no real working knowledge of offensive football from a calling it standpoint, to where you better hire someone who does know how to keep the offense running. Like, that's not the situation you walk yourself into. I think you have a stabilizing force in Kalen DeBoer for whoever that next OC is. So that's the good news. Again, it's extremely important. A ton of pressure. It'd be a massive loss. There's no way around it. But I do think that you have someone on that staff as your head coach in Kalen DeBoer that could kind of help make sure that that's a smooth transition to whoever the next OC is. Now, I would say this too for Ryan Grubb. Again, I have no idea what his priorities are. I imagine his priorities will have a very big impact on what he does professionally going forward. If he does get to take the Seattle job, if they offer it to him, or if he stays at Alabama, I think for Ryan Grubb, if you're able to knock it out of the park at a place like Alabama with that brand and that exposure and that visibility, like, pick your next job. You want to go be a coach in the NFL? You want to go be a coordinator and you knock it out at Alabama? You can go do it. If you don't feel amazing about the Seattle job and you want to wait and have a chance to take another job in the future, kill at Alabama for a year and have your pick at the litter from where I'm standing. If you want to be a college football head coach, go kill it at Bama and take a head coaching job in 1 to 2 years. Like, I think those are all very realistic possibilities. So what I'm trying to say here is, as appealing as the NFL could be for someone like Ryan Grubb, I think the attraction to stay at Bama and be able to create some more options for yourself would be, if not more attractive as that kind of a job. If Ryan Grubb does leave for the NFL, the same reasons why it would be attractive for Ryan Grubb to stay in Tuscaloosa is the exact same reason why I have to believe that next offensive coordinator hire could be pretty solid, because of the kind of guy it would attract. Like the possibilities, if you kill it at Alabama for your career, are endless. It is a launching pad. To be successful in the SEC with that brand, with that visibility, with that exposure, playing national television games every single weekend, more or less, like, I think that would do a lot for your career. So with Kalen DeBoer being that stabilizing force, that's also attractive. And so what I'm trying to say here is it would be brutal to lose Ryan Grubb. But at the exact same time, I think you'd be in a position of power in some ways with the kind of guys you could attract to be your next OC. Now, I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not saying that the pick of the litter is there like it would be earlier in the coaching cycle. But at the end of the day, the opportunity that a place like Alabama presents for any prospective hires have to feel like you're still in a reasonable situation. So with that being said, we will track the situation. Again, it is just a report that the Seahawks are targeting Ryan Grubb. People that I spoke to said he's worked for Alabama all week long. As soon as we get more information on this, we'll talk about it. But make sure you're subscribed. Heck, double check if you're subscribed so you don't miss a minute of what we got going on right here on this show, The Hard Count, on this platform, the On3 YouTube channel. Get at me on social media now, at JD Pickell, Twitter, Instagram. If you call Twitter X, get at me on there. But let me know what you think about the situation and what you think Ryan Grubb will do going forward. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.